What is a foreclosure or power sale? Interest rates are rising, inflation is going crazy, things are generally getting more expensive, and people are starting to default on their mortgage payments. And when that happens, foreclosures, power sales start coming back, which is why I want to tell you guys 5 things you need to know about foreclosures and power sales. Now, a foreclosure is a legal process in Ontario that a lender will go through when a homeowner or a borrower has failed to make payments on their property. It is when the lender seeks to sell the property in order to recover any outstanding debts. But the process isn't very straightforward, and there are various timelines and legal requirements that will have to be met in order for this process to be seen through. Step 2, going through the court system. If the lender decides to go through this process, the lender must file a statement of a claim. The homeowner will have an opportunity to respond. Now, both parties are going to be given an opportunity to present their positions in the cases or the reason why the situation is happening, but typically speaking, these things are pretty clear cut. I mean, the contracts are generally ironclad, so it's not like a borrower is going to have any reasonable reason for defaulting on their payments unless there was something that has been found unethical in the contract. If, let's say, you're dealing with a private lender, but you're definitely not going to have this with any institutional banks. So what typically is going to happen is that the court is going to issue a judgment which may lead to the sale of the property if the debt remains unpaid. Now brings us into the third point, which is power sale. This is what allows a lender to sell a property without going through the entirety of the court process. However, the lender still has to follow the legal requirements outlined by the Mortgage Act, which means they have to give the homeowner proper notice and proper timeframes in order to remedy the situation. Now, this doesn't mean that no paperwork has to be filed. However, it means that if you're on the receiving end of such a thing, you want to give serious attention to what is happening if notices are being sent to you. Lenders can go to the rental property, for example, if you own a rental property and you haven't been paying the mortgage, and they can go and ask the tenants to start paying rent to that mortgage company. Or you might see that they start contacting realtors to ask them what the property is worth and whether or not it can be sold so that they can recover their funds. So pay attention to these things and don't let your property go through power sale unnecessarily. Which brings us to the fourth point, which is redemption period. Now, Ontario provides a general redemption period for foreclosure proceedings. This period is basically to allow the homeowner to pay any outstanding debts or any interest that may have been incurred, including other fees. Property owners do successfully repay these things that are necessary, they can reclaim the property and make these problems go away. But now I want to talk about step 5, which is buying a foreclosed upon property. It can present unique opportunities as well as challenges. You as a buyer want to, of course, make sure to be extremely diligent. Your due diligence period has to be exercised, and you must ensure to check things like title, any kind of debts that may be on the property, and of course an inspection to see what the property condition might be. Properties that are being foreclosed on are going to have had homeowners previously anyway that weren't taking care of the property too well, because there was obviously certain financial struggles that they were going through, and so they may have not had the right funds to take care of the property appropriately, so there may have been problems that were growing over time. And as such, it's important to make sure to not just have your financing in order, but also make sure to have some funds that are available for repairs if they're needed at the property. With that being said, with everything that is happening in 2023, foreclosures and power sales are probably coming back. If you want to know more about how to be a real estate investor in 2023, we have coaching programs helping you up your real estate game. In the meantime, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and I will see you on the next one.